everyone, and welcome to another episode of Off the Hook with Matty D. Today's episode, to me, is really kind of important because, you know, one of the things I often like to talk about is military and women in fishing. And that brings me to today's topic, which is Richmond Fly Women. This is a brand new organization that started just a few weeks ago, and it is growing leaps and bounds. I want to bring in my two special guests this evening, and here we are. There's Kensley Barker. Let me bring in also Bree Winter. How are both of you doing?
Great.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me for Off the Hook with Matty D. So this is a really cool thing. I love the fact that you're not only promoting women in fishing and fly fishing, but also trying to get people who've never fly fished before interested in this sport because it's so male dominated and it doesn't need to be. It's for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super
sure.
accessible.
Tell me about Richmond Fly. How did you come up with this? Let's start with you, Kenzie, or Bree, either one.
So basically we all kind of fished together at Escotabua, and we were like, okay, when spring comes, we're gonna get together, we're gonna fish. And we started a little group chat, and we're trying to find other women to fish with. And I was like Googling, like, you know, women that fly fish in Richmond, blah, 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 trying to find a group. Couldn't find anything. And we were just like, should we just start one?
Yeah.
And so that day we just made an Instagram and just immediately started getting followers, and
it
Current
took
Culture
off.
promoted us a lot.
Yeah.
And like it really took off. So
You mentioned the Instagram, so we'll quickly just jump ahead here to the Instagram for a second.
Sure.
And so we'll bring that up, and you can see, there it is. There we go. There's your Instagram page, Richmond Fly Women, and tons of posts. You've had recent outings. It's Richmond Fly Women on Instagram. We'll get to the inside of that in just a bit. I want to come back, though. Bree, so Escotabua is where you all started fishing together. And by the way, just so everybody knows, Tori is also a member, and she's off screen.
Tori.
Yeah, she's off screen.
I wish I had a way to, you know what, I'll just break the rules there. There's Tori, okay? Just breaking the rules. I think you yelled at me, but that's okay.
and Hannah's a part of the group too, but she couldn't be here tonight.
Right.
But
She's
it's
working.
definitely the four
Yes.
of us working together here.
So you start this group, and what is the mission? What is the idea behind it?
Well, we just really like to fish, and we loved fishing together. I, for one, fish a lot better when I'm with a group of women. It makes me try harder. It makes me more independent. I see these amazing women doing things, and I'm like, I can do that too. Definitely. So it really drives us to do more. And so when we were talking about creating this Instagram page and what it was, we were thinking, well, it's first and foremost a community of women who love to fish, and that we really want to facilitate opportunities for women to come together, learn new skills, whether it's tying flies, casting, knots. I'm working on my double haul so I can really go out for some saltwater fish and really get my line out there. So casting lessons, and of course, like seeing what's out there in the community, like what is Orvis River Road offering for women? What are other fly shops in and around the Richmond area offering? So really kind of creating a community for women.
Speaking of Orvis River Road, I really liked how when I was talking about it with Virginia before the event, and Virginia's with Orvis River Road, I liked what she said. She was like, I want to see more women out there independently and have the confidence to be out there on their own and know that they don't need somebody with them. And I was like, wow, that's such like a great mission. Like I want to see I want to fish with other women together, but I also want people to feel confident going out there. They know they know that they can do everything to bring in a fish, be out there safely, like understand everything. And I was like, that's such a great goal.
I'm going to ask, and I hope this doesn't come across wrong. Is it tough sometimes when you fish with a guy because sometimes they mansplain things?
Of course, yeah.
I get that from my daughter. You know, that why you mansplain.
Well, I mean, I think there's almost a sense that like they almost have to care for you, and it doesn't matter what the age is. Like when they're same age, they might be trying to impress you. When they're older, they might be trying to think of you as like their daughter or their grandchild or something, and then they kind of coddle you. That happens a lot. I think there's people that are better at it and some that aren't. But I noticed this even like Bree and I met rock climbing years ago. Climbing with women, it's just like they climb like you. Their body is shaped like you. Their center of gravity is the same. You learn better from somebody who works like you and thinks like you. And I think it's just easier and just feels more comfortable to be around other women to just get the confidence.
I'm so much braver around other women. Like we just went out to 14th Street Bridge paddling together, and I would have never done that by myself. But they're like, let's go. And I was like, okay, I can drive into the city. I live in the suburbs. I can do this. I can drive there. I can get myself there. They're doing it. I can do it too. And it was great. And it was super easy and it's super accessible. I fish with my husband a lot, and he's amazing. And my brothers a lot. And I do sometimes like feel like I let them take care of me.
Yeah, put the fly on for you.
Yeah,
like
I'm like,
everything.
oh,
It's just
thanks.
like, man,
Which I do not need. I can totally do it myself. And so that's what I do love about fishing with women, because it makes me put myself out there more and do things for myself.
I want to roll back here for just a second. So, Kensley, when did you start fishing? And was it first fly fishing, or just spin first and then evolve into fly fishing?
I mean, I never really was a big fisher, always casual. Spin just never did it for me. Actually, the first time that I ever fly fished was, we were just trying to figure out when it was, and it was about 13 years ago at Bree's Lake House. And caught some little panfish at Lake Gaston, and I was so excited about it. I loved the flies, first of all. I studied biology. I used to do water quality testing, where you did like all the bug water quality assessment stuff. So I got really into tying flies, and that was like kind of how I started it. And then I finally got my own 5-weight, did a little casually. But I feel like the last couple years is like when I really like moving back to Richmond from Florida, I really started fly fishing a lot. A lot of that is to do with Simone from Current Culture and just having the access to it. But just like really got the bug, and I love it. It's so fun.
And Bree, I'll flip the same question over to you. Your brother, your husband, but when did you start fishing, and was it first spin, then fly, and how did that all evolve?
So I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was lucky. My grandfather built a cabin in the Jemez Springs area. So there's a bunch of trout streams going through there. And Albuquerque, or New Mexico, is great because they are constantly stocking their streams and their waterways. It's awesome. So I grew up with using power bait and like kid rods, fishing the streams for trout. And then my dad got really into fly fishing, and I wanted to hang out with my dad. This was in my early 20s. So I started to fly fish with him, and I loved it. It was so fun. So whenever I would travel from Richmond to visit my dad in New Mexico, I would fly fish with him. And then whenever I'd go to Lake Gaston, I'd fly fish with my husband and my brother-in-law, Jonathan, who's amazing, and he's taught me so much. And then I was really into rock climbing, and I spent a lot of time in Georgia climbing. Got super strong. It was so much fun, but we had to move back to Richmond. And I was like, all right, well, climbing's not as accessible here. I have 2 small children.
Right.
So what am I going to do? And I was like, I'm just going to start fishing again. So for 3 years, I've been just hitting it all the time, as much as possible.
And so do you take your kids fishing as well?
I do. They really like catching.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily like fishing. So if we are catching things, they are stoked. They're in it. And we usually with them, it's a bobber and a worm. And we catch everything and anything when the bite is on.
Right.
But if we don't catch anything within 10 minutes, they're like, all right, I'm done. But I stay out there with the bobber and the worm until something bites. So I love all types of fishing. I prefer fly fishing, but
I get it, but that is so kid-centric right there.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, it's about the action, right? And only when you get older do you realize the stealth and the stalking of the fish and fishing, you know, and you might cast 1,000 times before that first take, and you hope that maybe you get it or something like that.
And I really like what Tori said earlier when we were talking about it, is like, and we all just thought about like, yeah, like how much patience you just learn from fishing, and how you just learn to be peaceful in the waiting. And it was just like, yeah, Tori, you're totally right. Like we've all learned so much patience from fishing, and it's like one of the most special parts of it. And it's really cool.
I think you hit on something there, because when you're out, for me, and I hope it's that way for you, and I think it is, when you're out on the stream, you kind of forget all worries of everyday life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is peaceful.
Yeah. You lose track of time. I mean, I went out last week by myself and was just like, oh my gosh, I've been out here for 4 hours. And like, I mean, it's just like nice and just not even thinking about anything. Oh, there's Bree at Escatava with Mike Rennie from
I lost that fish.
Blue Mountain.
We won't mention that. But
This is me fishing in Disney.
that's awesome. And then this is the other day you were
Yeah,
out
yeah.
episode 14. So
Very
I know the
wide
video's
set.
a little
Yeah.
wonky here and whatever.
No.
Oh, we
worries.
had so much fun out there together, and it was like, you know, it was.
Unfortunately, the bite was off.
Yeah, it is.
It was
what it is.
no one was
And
catching.
there's your own Jacqueline
Yeah.
on Simone's boat.
Yeah.
Let's Jacqueline. Oh, I love Jacqueline.
Yeah.
She
came to our event.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So here's
Little
the
shad.
with the shad. Yeah. They went out after and a thing here. So all she did was hear me talk about fly fishing. And I started this show and she, you know, always asked me how it went. And I said, you should try it. So one day, Current Culture, Simone and company were doing a beginners, I've never held a fly rod in my life type of thing. And she went. And so it was after work on a Saturday, Sunday, and she came back in on Monday. She goes, I'm so hooked. I'm so hooked. And I'm like, oh my God. She goes, I need to buy rods and reels immediately. I'm like, you need to slow down just a bit. So we did a follow-up off the hook, you know, about the event and about beginners fly fishing. And they went out that day. And all of a sudden, Simone is just sending me picture because the bite was on. It was stupid fishing. And so, and then of course, the next day I see her, I'm the best fly angler in the world. I go, you fished in an aquarium. you know, but I'm glad.
And with Simone.
Yeah.
But the great thing was, I mean, but that's all it
It's
took.
still skill though.
It-
Like
you
she
know?
still like had to learn how to do it properly and
For
get out
sure.
there.
And then, you know, when you guys were having your event, I said, are you going? And she's like, of course I am. I
Yeah.
said, good. Because that's, I think this, yes, you can be taught by Simone, but as you all said, it's easier to be taught by you and you and you, right? Tori and Bree and Kenzie and Hannah, because you all speak the same language and you've all struggled that together. And sometimes we're like, oh, this is easy, even though it's not, right? So I think it makes it fun.
And I think the most special part of that was like most of the women that came to that thing had never tied a fly before. Some of them had a little bit of exposure, but like once something clicked for one of them, if they saw someone else struggling, they just got up immediately and just started helping. And it was just like, at one point there were like 5 people up helping people at the same time. And I was like, this is amazing. Like it was just like everybody was self-helping each other and
And they're sharing fishing stories and where they love to go and like what time of year is the best and like,
I
oh,
think
we should
everybody
go.
tried it. Everybody tried to tie a fly.
Yeah.
Which was like not what we expected.
Yeah.
And how, so I'm trying to get to those pictures as quickly as possible because they're all in different orders here. These are
This is
great.
some of the. This is Lizzie. She's
Right.
not in Richmond, but she's been like very active, and she's gone out with Simone a few times. But yeah, she's joined the group. I'm excited to meet her.
I love some of these pictures here.
There's a panfish at
Panfish?
Pocahontas State Park years
Nice.
ago.
That's great because, you know, I
They're
think
my
there's-
favorite to catch. I
Yes.
love them. They
And
fight
that was
so
when I
hard.
first started tying flies.
Yeah.
So that was a little streamer that I
Yeah.
tied, and I was like, I got one. But like panfish aren't very picky. But it was,
There's a whole
Feel so
guy
excited.
that does an entire Instagram page, Panfish on the Fly. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's super, you know, the whole thing is great, you know.
There's
Little brook
Morgan.
trout.
Yeah.
she didn't make it out, but she's like really excited to be at our next thing.
Yeah.
And there's Jacqueline.
And
There's
that's Virginia.
Virginia.
That's a ginormous pull.
She's the best.
She's such a hoot. I really
Yeah. We're very lucky to know her.
Did,
I feel
did
like.
her and Craig Kinzer kind of open up the Orvis store for you all? How did that all happen? Because your event was last week.
Yeah, so after we started the group, at first Simone offered up all of his vices and we were going to go to a brewery maybe and do that. But then Virginia reached out and she was like, hey, like, you can use the shop and like you can come in here and we can pull out rods and play around. And we're like, you know what, that actually sounds perfect because it's like also, when I first started fly fishing, I was scared to walk into a fly shop. Like I felt stupid. Like I was afraid to walk in there and not know what I'm asking for. And it's just like,
Yeah.
let's just get women in the shop, get them comfortable,
Right.
ask questions. Like I think that's a huge
Yeah.
step.
So this was after hours for the shop?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I think that's a great way to do it because I mean, even for someone like me, I walk into a shop and I am somewhat intimidated because I fish a very certain style of fishing.
Yeah.
And like
There's
when
just
I
so much there.
There's a
so
lot.
much there, right? I mean, and being that, so a lot of my fly fishing was up off of Lake Ontario, the Great Lakes Tribs,
Cool.
which people don't do down here. There's a couple that now travel up there. But when I walk into like the Orvis store, they're like, "So what do you do?" I'm like, "I go for salmon and steelhead," and they're like, "Okay."
They're using shoelace on a hook.
They're like, okay, yeah, but it gets pretty interesting for sure, So how many women were at the event? Again, I'm trying to get to those pictures.
I think there were 14 of us.
including us.
Yeah, which was beyond our
Yeah,
expectation.
15 total RSVP'd, including us, and 14 showed up,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted to be there and couldn't. I feel like the turnout and the excitement and the enthusiasm and the participation, like the ideas, offering up their help. Oh, this is everybody that came.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
the
was so
stoke
much
was
fun.
high for sure.
And so who led the overall discussion, or was it everybody just had their own, like how did the night start and progress and all?
So out of all of us, Kensley has the most experience tying flies. So she kind of led the class.
Okay.
And then
It kind of self-led.
it did, but no, you're a boss. You led the class, which was great. I don't have a lot
We
of
did woolly
experience.
buggers and
Yeah.
clousers. But we actually started backwards. I meant to start with woolly buggers, but Brie was like, I haven't seen a clouser before. So we were just
Yeah.
starting, and then everyone showed up, and I was like, okay, we're starting with the harder fly.
Yeah.
So did you start, right away with fly tying, or did you talk about fly fishing in general and this is what the store, or people just milled
People
around?
kind of trickled in,
Yeah.
and we just it was very casual and just put people in vices, and we talked about what the flies are for and what they're useful for, and just very basic how to tie, like how they swim, and we had the fly boxes open and kind of showed different flies. Virginia had a lot of her stuff out. She's like, these are my bass flies.
But it was kind of like a party.
It was like a party,
like
yeah.
a class. A lot of socializing, a lot of getting to know each other. Just very excited, sharing stories. People were tying flies. People were snacking. So
yeah, and sharing ideas of what they wanted to do, and also their connections, people that they knew that might be able to connect us with a female casting instructor, which is super exciting. I really as much as people have offered help to work with us, I really want to try to keep this women led, and I think we really feel pretty strongly about that.
and not necessarily by us. We're very
it
much
should be a collective in a community.
anyone can jump in and have an idea.
I actually don't want to the events.
And I think that's great because women-led organization, women casting instructors, women fly tying, there is an ease, as you said, about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you start tying clousers, and then you move on to woolly buggers.
Yeah.
And then
Backwards.
it's all good. It doesn't make a difference. You're tying, and people are, because someone use Jacqueline to get as an example, has never touched a vice.
We were hand over hand. At one point, I had my hands on her as we were doing the whip finish.
Which is very difficult
she
to
was like,
master. But it is very difficult to master the whip finish.
Yeah, and I'm also left-handed, so I was also trying to do it as a right-handed person.
So
It worked out. It worked
You
out.
should
Yeah, it
vice
did.
backward.
Yeah. So I was probably the worst person to be showing everybody how to do
But if you
stuff.
show forward, they get
Yeah,
it.
it's a mirror. It's like a mirror.
And I feel as lefties, you learn how to be ambidextrous, so I was able to transpose it. But people were going around and helping because I'm I'm doing everything backwards.
So how long did the overall first night meetup last?
2 hours.
Yeah, it was about 2 hours.
And everybody left really pumped and excited and invigorated.
Yes.
It was
They're when are
everyone
we
was on a
going
high.
fishing? We're we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, they're excited immediately about the next thing.
Yes.
And I got lots of feedback afterwards about how happy they were to have this community. They've been waiting for this community. And also just people wanting to plan events. And I'm yes, if you want to put together an event, do it. Like, that's awesome.
So, okay,
We'll
so
be
let's
there.
talk about what is the next step. Are you doing another Orvis out meeting, or are you like this weekend? The three of you or four, did Hannah join?
Yeah, Hannah was there.
So the four of you went out on canoes off the
Yeah.
14th Street Bridge and went for stripers, I assume, because Shad is winding down.
Anything we wanted
Yeah,
to
the
catch.
shad are there, but
anything.
they're not biting. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so that was kind of the four of you. But do you now open it up to others, or how do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we kind of want to do a lake.
Yes.
Kind of like shoreline, because lots of people can kind of come and go as they want.
Yes, and there are great lakes in like around Richmond where if you don't have a kayak, you can run there, like Pocahontas
Or
State
Chick
Park
Lake.
or
Yeah,
Chick Lake.
Chickahominy Lake.
You can just rent a kayak for cheap.
Right.
So having a day out on the lake, so you can work on your casting, get panfish, work on tying knots, things like that.
So yeah, we're gonna try to. And
That's the next step.
We're ironing out where it is, because there's
Yeah.
a potential that we might be able to use a private lake. So once
Yes.
we have that, it's going to be on Instagram. So everyone should follow us on Instagram and
Yes.
keep an eye out for that. And then we put out a poll today on the Instagram to just kind of see what people are interested in.
Oh, really? Wait, where is that? Is that in one of the?
It's on our stories.
It's on your stories. Oh, I wonder if a story will play here.
Oh, there's our hat.
There's our hat.
That's coming in hot.
Got mine on.
It's probably like the last story. There's Bree. This is our float yesterday. We had so much. We all tethered up. 2 of us had anchors.
Yep.
This
High news, because you gotta have a little. Yeah.
we want to get sponsored.
You also have to have a little liquid refreshment. I understand. Yeah.
Sunday fun day.
Oh, this is very unsafe. I understand, but this was me taking Bree to shore. It was like 2 feet.
It was it was very shallow. I just didn't want to get
so here's
super
something.
wet.
So you have-
Yes.
Yeah, so there's an event that Department of Wildlife Resources is doing,
Yes.
and it's free for women, and it's full. So they're asking people to sign up for the wait list, but now they're looking for volunteers. So if anybody preferably women, if they want to volunteer, they can go to the DWR website /volunteer and sign up for that and help out. But I think they have.
I believe it's in Charles City.
Yeah, Charles
Yes.
City.
Okay.
Super exciting that they're doing that. I think there was like 24 seats and they all filled up.
Yeah.
Oh,
which
wow,
is,
that's
like,
great.
Amazing.
Yes.
That's awesome.
There's definitely an interest
Yeah.
Good.
for
Yeah. Okay,
fishing
so
and women.
we're going to do the May meetup, and then the next one we had a poll.
Nope, that's not me.
This is just the reel. This is our reel from our adventure. Oh,
Great
it's so
adventure.
fun.
Yeah,
It
you
was
went in the water in bathing suits.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
It wasn't
a
too
very,
bad.
Oh, that was the
There it
time
is.
Simone's supposed making the
This-
lead. Okay.
Okay.
This is our poll.
Yeah. So, what else do you guys want to do this spring? Not a lot of votes for more social fly tying, but you know what?
That's
Maybe
okay.
in the winter we'll pick
Yeah.
that back up.
Right.
But overwhelmingly, people want to do a river float.
Okay.
I think they also got excited by seeing us having so much fun on the kayaks. But I think like 75% of the votes came in for river float.
Okay.
But I mean, we saw votes for everything. But one of the women reached out and she was like, I do a float a lot from Reedy Creek with canoes and kayaks, and some people can be on tubes. And I think that'd just be a really fun way. And Bree was talking about earlier how it's just when you're with a group of women, it's just so much safer.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I totally went in on accident into the river and I felt, even though they were kind of far away, but I felt fine, like safe. Like,
gonna be like, "We're
I went
free,"
swimming.
and then-
Yeah.
We're free. There she is holding onto the kayak.
Yeah, I got in though. I got back in. But
So that makes it kind of fun as well, because you can all laugh about it as long as everybody's
Yeah.
safe too,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Very important.
Very true. Okay, so the next thing then is going to be a river float, but no knowledge of exactly when that will be yet.
Yeah, that'll probably be a later in the May thing. First, we're going to do the lakes.
yep.
Okay.
Because that'll just be easier. If people don't have a boat or whatever, we can just cast from the shore.
Right.
And then once we get a casting instructor worked out, we're going to do casting lessons. We thought about doing a casual meetup at a brewery or something and just practicing knots, making leaders
Yeah.
and stuff. So,
I think that's a good thing because there's so many different knots that,
yeah,
you
most people
need-
just know the cinch knot, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think, especially when the fish start rising, doing popper fishing on the James. Oh, so fun.
we can make poppers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I realized
It's
that
so
I was
fun.
severely lacking the right size poppers last night when we were fishing.
oh,
like,
were
oh,
you
yeah.
trying to get them on top water
Well,
last
because
night?
they were
coming-
on
they
top
were
of
rising,
it.
yeah.
you
Yeah.
didn't I see.
I have like big bass hook poppers, and then I have like little tiny panfish poppers, but I didn't have like the right for, and I was like, okay, I need to tie some
Gotcha.
poppers. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so do you all tie by yourselves and then, or do you tie always as a group? Or, I mean, probably tie as a
Kenzie ties a lot
Yeah.
by herself. That is a hobby that I'm going to start soon.
I gave her my old advice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've tied a few woolly boogers in my life, but I would really like to get into it. I think it would be really fun.
Yeah, I like to do it while I'm watching TV. Simone has taught me a lot of flies. But I do think it'd be fun to just be like, hey guys, like if anybody wants to tie together, like we can either meet up or you can come over and just like do it together and teach each other.
I love the fact that you did it at the Orvis store. I think that just because having it in that space where people can see the materials beside of what they're using and understand.
Yep.
And Bree, just so you know, you never save any money tying flies. Despite the fact that you think you do, you never do.
No, you never make that because you spend like $20 for yarn, like 8 inches of yarn.
Right, like you go into a fly shop and you're like, I just want 3 woolly buggers. Okay, $2.25 a piece. Yeah, but I can buy 7 packs of 25 hooks at $9 a piece, and then I have all these hooks, and it's great.
But it's so fun, and it's like really relaxing. And there's nothing like catching a fish on something that you tied. It's like super exciting.
Yeah,
I did realize that a lot of my clousers fell apart. like getting caught at the bottom, like the bucktail started to go out. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make that better.
Yeah.
But there's my first striper.
That's a
good
fish.
first striper.
Very fish. Nice.
That was last year. Yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
Oh, and that was just a few weeks ago in Colorado. Little rainbow.
So let's talk about that. So how do is there a thought, and maybe I'm jumping way ahead here, of doing like a women's distance outing? Like, let's all go.
I would love that.
We've actually had a few people reach out. Ladies East talked about doing a float maybe somewhere, because I think Ladies East is Virginia and North Carolina, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But and then like a fly fishing lodge in Patagonia reached out and they were like, hey, if you get X amount of women interested, we'll give you like a couple of seats free and stuff. And I was like, well, we'll see if we get there.
I mean,
we just started. Give us a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was like literally the day that we started the Instagram, and I was like, give us some time to get that many women.
Let's get started.
We would love to. We would love to organize a trip.
And I grew up in New Mexico. We're all from different areas. We all have roots in different areas for fishing. I go back every year. I fish the San Juan in New Mexico in the spring, which is amazing.
Yeah, you guys were just there and you caught some great fish.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I go to Colorado all the time.
Right. So we have connections. So we possibly, it'd take some planning, but we could possibly do that for sure.
I think that would really be like such a cool unifying kind of group thing, and
Well, and there's like so many women's groups in other regions, which is why I was so surprised that there wasn't one in Central Virginia. I mean, there's other ones in Virginia, but I couldn't believe there wasn't one in Richmond. I mean, there's the Chesapeake Anglers, and then there's the Lady East. And I'm sure there's another group that I'm missing. But I also noticed like other women's groups like started adding us from like other states.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of want to just go on Instagram one day and just find them all, and then we can connect and like organize a group, maybe pair with them and meet other women in like another state.
Like if there's one out in West Virginia, you will meet somewhere that's kind of mutually
do an exchange.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like just like partner with each other. And pair up. And some of I think the Lady East, they've been together for like 45 years. I think they just posted today. So it's like, I can't wait to get there. I'm excited. Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
How many women now are part of Richmond Fly Women? You said you had 14 or so, 15 at the event, right, the RSVP'd.
Yeah.
But you're getting a lot of good feedback from women around the area too.
Yes, definitely. So 14 showed. We are definitely gaining more followers on Instagram.
I would say about 25 active women.
Yes.
That like have like reached out. It's probably about right.
Yeah.
But then there's like some sleepers. Like anytime somebody like that adds us, I always follow them back because I'm like, I don't care if you don't fish. Like maybe you'll get interested in fishing.
But then,
Yeah.
I think if they initially reach out by following you, there is an interest.
There's an
there.
interest, yeah.
Right? So how do you then grow that interest by showing what you're doing, right?
Well, so there are other women organizations in Richmond, and one of them is climbing.
Yeah,
and
Boulder Babes.
Boulder Babes
So like a lot of parallel groups that like
to be outside.
they like the outdoors. Like it makes sense. Like we can get them interested in fishing and
Yeah.
work with them. Climbing and fishing,
They go hand in hand.
the areas that you climb in are usually like great for fishing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right. Because and they're very outdoorsy type people
Yes.
anyway. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that-
we're both climbers. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotcha. So how can other women anglers reach out to you? Is it number one is through Instagram, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, right now through Instagram. We do have the email account, but I mean, we are going to make a lot of the women from the meetup gave me their information. I'm going to make a WhatsApp so that and Bree had a good idea. Like 'cause the other day she was like, "Hey, I'm just going to go to like the U of R lake." And I was like, "Okay, I'll just go meet you there at lunch." And we just like caught a couple fish, and then that was my lunch. So we thought about, if we have the WhatsApp, somebody could just say, "Hey, I'm going to be here from this time to this time. If you feel like coming, come meet up." So
Yeah.
if people want to join that, like they can send me their phone number, DM through the Instagram, or if they'd rather do an email, we can start maybe thinking about a newsletter or something. I know
Yeah.
not everybody uses Instagram, so.
For sure. And do you so Virginia works at Orvis. Is she helping you all spread the message?
100%.
Yeah.
She's been
Yeah,
great.
she's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then have
We
you
love
thought
her.
about other groups like Fly Fishers of Virginia, which I'm part of, and like, maybe showing up there. I could bring you in as my guest if you want to see what it's about.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of men, but there are some women there. There's a whole women's
I have heard that
organization.
they've been wanting to diversify a bit.
They want
so,
to grow
like,
big
you know.
time. In fact, they yelled at me when I had Jacqueline on. They're like, "Why is she not part of?" I'm like, literally, she started like a week ago. So yeah.
I mean, our goal is to get outside and fish.
Right.
And however we can do that and however we can get more women outside and fishing.
More connection to access different
Yes.
kinds of waters.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
We're down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a simple message, but
Yeah.
it's so easy.
Only fish.
Yeah.
Only fish.
And I think like the two biggest groups that have been helping promote us are Current Culture and Orvis, but also James River Association has started like chiming in, which is kind of exciting. And that's also another good parallel because people might be into kayaking or they might be into other like water sports. So it's like, okay,
Hiking along
I can't
the
imagine
rivers.
boating without like a fishing rod on the boat, to be honest.
No, I agree.
No
I
way.
mean,
But a lot of people do that.
yeah, no, I mean, there's got to be. To me, the only purpose of having a boat is to fish.
Yeah.
It's the only purpose.
But that's not what I would have said, a couple of years ago. But not to say that like I mean part of it is being outside. So I also don't
Definitely.
mind just like taking a break and just like
Yeah. And then like promoting opportunities to give back and work on the river through like DWR. I'm sure they do trail days and river days and things like
that's
that.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's lots of
So,
different
volunteering,
lots of different
for sure.
ways. All right, so number one way is Instagram for women to get involved with you, follow you, and you'll post your next outings there as
Yep.
well.
Yes.
Very
which
active
is
on
going
there.
to be a river float. It looks like based on the poll.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
I like that. And doing the poll is great too.
Yeah.
We want it to be owned by the women and they get the ideas. But we probably are going to try to do a little like indoor things too. Like,
Yeah.
For sure. Because this is great. I appreciate you coming on and talking about this.
Yeah.
And just the pictures have been fantastic. We've been going through here.
That was at Escataba.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's getting ready to go out on a very cold morning, but it was
That's
Yeah.
my first shad.
that's a great looking shad as well.
That is. Look at you.
It's good stuff.
There's Tori and Simone.
From up top at Escataba, and of course,
Yeah.
Tori's,
Yeah, I was by the fire.
Tori's well locked at that point.
Yeah. That was such a wonderful trip. And what a
so
very
amazing.
cool place to fish.
It's a great fishery.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so much fun there.
There's Bree with
The
Mike
one
Rennie
that-
cheering her on, but actually just saying, lift the ball. in the rock.
Yeah.
Let's go with the cheering on.
Yeah. The one that got away.
And when I
There's
saw
Eva.
you all there at Escataba, I mean, because I was fishing my way down, and I didn't want to get into where you guys were, but you were, I mean, with
Bree caught like like
it was
35 fish.
I mean, you were all on fire when I passed by in the
We
one
all caught
section.
a lot of fish, but Bree caught like 2 for every one that we caught.
I really like indicator fishing.
It's strike indicator fishing. I cannot do.
I
I'm-
love it.
Yeah, I
Really?
mean,
I love it.
So I stare at the indicator and then I go, oh look, the indicator went down. Maybe I should do something. At that point, it's too late.
Yep.
I'm so much more touch. Like
Oh, that's right. You
feel-
have to like react to the
I have
tide.
to feel right. So
That's all we did in Colorado. It was like a chain of like 4 nymphs.
yeah, but yeah. So I mean, and even like doing an outing maybe at like Escataba or Rose
Yeah, we
River.
were just talking about that on the ride here. It was like, oh yeah, we should do Escataba because I think you can like if you have 8 people, you can just like reserve the whole
whole
place.
thing.
Yeah. So
And there are other areas or other shops in Charlottesville that do women-led outings or women-led classes. And some of the private water there, Albemarle Fly Shop.
it's a hard word to say.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
is, yeah.
They
did a good job.
thank you. They do a lot of stuff, women classes, and I love it because you're learning, you're with like-minded women,
Right.
and it's relatively inexpensive to instead of having like one-on-one time with a guide. And Albemarle,
It's like 1/8 of the cost.
right?
Guys.
So
Not
it's
to say
affordable,
guys deserve all that money, of course.
right?
But cost is
If
tough
you-
sometimes.
yeah.
Not
right?
everyone can afford to go out with a guide. every
And
day.
they have access to the private waters up there. So Sugar Holler Farms, they go there. So they go to a lot of places, and it's relatively inexpensive. And you learn from a guide. I love fishing with a guide because I always learn something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they cater it to you. Like
There's always something to learn.
Because they'll notice something that you may be doing and they can offer a simple little, hey,
Right.
maybe try this, and all of a sudden like your knowledge base just increases dramatically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, when I was in Colorado, I went out with a guide and he learned a little bit about me. He chose a place because he thought it's a place that I could access on my own. He chose a style based on like what I told him about. Like he was like, we're not going to go to a place that has a ton of fish because I feel like you care more about the nature and like the technical stuff. So like, I'm going to take you to a place that's tough, but like, I feel like this is what you want. And I was like, man, you just like know me, man.
You just
Like,
kind of read just by the questions and discussion you had previous to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good guide will do that.
Yeah. And we
An
have a lot of
average-
great guides here.
Right.
Yeah.
And an average guide will just be like, here's the fish, here's where we're going.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I'm going to put you on fish.
Right. And great. I don't want to speak bad, but I mean, we can all catch fish. I want to learn more about the fishery and the experience.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And at the end of the day, it's beautiful to be like redfish. Like you might not get a redfish, but
Yeah.
No.
you're gonna have an amazing day. And I guess you could always hit the dock lights if he's gone.
I didn't have much luck at the dock lights either. So my first day out with Simone was not good.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was a tough day. He goes, of all the days, like this is one of our toughest days I've had on the water. It was very funny.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it happens. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, as we said, it's fishing, not catching, which is what your children want to do. Catch.
It's all about the process.
Yeah, exactly. It is about learning the process. Okay. First, I love this whole thing. I'm going to bring up your Instagram page one more time. Again, it's Richmond Fly Women. Right now, again, jump on Instagram, follow them, look for the poll, look for their next outing to do either a river float or maybe some fly tying or knot tying, or even I like the WhatsApp idea. I think
Yeah.
it's great. Just, you know, hey, we're going to be here and you want to come down on your lunch break or maybe an hour or two after work, or, you know.
Yeah.
Something easy.
It is really great stuff. I cannot.
Tell your sister about us.
Yeah.
Tell like women about us. Like
Yeah.
everybody. Like I bring
Spread
new
the word.
fishers in. Yeah.
I think it's.
We all
very
have
true.
more than one pole, so like somebody can borrow a pole. They don't have to have.
Yes,
gear.
I have lots
Right. Yeah.
of fly rods.
Yeah. I think that works really, really well. So
Like gear.
I want to thank you both for coming
you.
on. Let me
Yeah,
get the right
thanks for
phone
having
box
us.
here. No, thank you so much. Is there anything that I missed that we should, or we got it all?
I think we got it all. Just go fish.
Yeah.
Good.
And thank you to everyone that's been helping and
Yeah.
promoting us, current culture and Orvis especially. It's been like awesome.
Good
and so
deal.
helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will make sure that I will do my job to try to help you, and I will tell Jackie to continue to promote you guys too. 'cause
Yeah.
I know
Awesome.
she
Yeah.
is.
And I'm excited to fish with her.
That's an experience. It's fun. I do love Jackie. so
She's funny. I like her.
is
She's
fun.
sweet.
If you want to find out more again about Richmond Fly Women, check it out on their Instagram. I think it's a great organization. They are really kind of turning that page so that more women get involved in our sport. We'll see you again next time for another edition of Off the Hook with Matty D. Joining us for another episode of Off the Hook with Matty D.